Hello, my lovely. You are going to want to strap in because some things are going to change a little bit around here. You cannot want next level shit by following the crowd, by doing the same shit that other people are doing, or by doing the same thing over and over again and thinking that anything is going to be different. So you're not going to be getting the whole 3 steps to this or 5 steps to that kind of information here. I'm going to take this podcast and this life and how I see business and how you see business and take it to the next level. So let's discuss what I've learned so far. These are my confessions as a later life diagnosed ADHD woman who is also the chief weirdo of Karrie Out Loud. Turn the volume up to an 11 and please don't tell anyone my secrets. My name is Karrie. I'm your host and I am the chief weirdo of Karrie Out Loud. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found the podcast. And boy, you found it on a good day because I, the royal we, taking this up to a new level, a different way to go. To be different, we have to do things differently. We have to do the things that we feel are of us. And I think that for a lot of this podcast, I have looked around and saw how other people were doing things. And not that my podcast here, not that this podcast has been bad. It has been amazing. But I just want to make it more personal. I want to talk to you about different stories, different moments that happen during the week, things that you're going to be able to relate to. And women with ADHD, especially later life diagnosed women, we know for so many of us, we have known that we have a greater life purpose, but we haven't necessarily known what that means or what that looks like. And so that's really what I want to talk about is being our own selves. And I know for myself that I have found through unmasking and through this road that I've been walking on since I received my diagnosis that I'm not here to do things like everybody else. And I've always known that. And yet I sat here and did things like everyone else. Isn't that an irony, right? But not anymore. I used to sometimes write these podcast episodes out. Sometimes I would just riff, but I want to present this to you in a more personalized style and a more conversational, and take things that happened throughout my week that had really good points to them, things that happened with other humans, other clients, or discoveries that I made in my own business so that we can just level up together. So the first thing that I want to bring up here is that when you stop stepping into other people's visions and you put the eye on your prize and you do not deviate from that, from your own vision by stepping into other people's businesses or how they do things, it's a game changer. I slowly but surely have been tuning out other voices and really deciding to really show up. And it's not that I haven't been showing up. It's just that I've been unmasking slowly and over time. And it finally feels like I am in such a solid place that I don't feel like I have to rely on looking around me. I can come from inside of myself. Everything I need is here already. And I think that for a really long time in my life, I didn't believe that. Seeking outside validation, seeking outside approval, seeking outside kudos, outside high fives. And what I realized today in the car, well, it's been over the last few days, is that everything that we need overall is inside of us. Until we stop looking outside, we will not step up. And so I want to ask you some things. When it comes to your business, do you step into other people's visions? I know that we can sometimes have shiny object syndrome, but do you keep your eye focused on where you're going? Do you have standards in your business? What do you want them to be if you don't? Have you even thought of that? Here's the thing when it comes to business and when it comes to growth and when it comes to where you're headed. You may think, well, this can't happen for me. You may have had these thoughts. This can't happen for me. This is too big for me. This is too much for me. How am I going to be able to take this on? But I want to ask, why not you? If you get the support that you need as you are walking into something much bigger and you implement those things over time, that will make your growth exponential. When you simplify to amplify your voice, it changes a lot. It changes a lot. And one of the things I know to be true is that if you believe you can, you can. It gets to be that simple. Now, I didn't say it was easy, but it does get to be that simple. And one of the things that we love to do is overcomplicate shit. I said to a friend, even like, why make something simple when we can make it much more complicated than it needs to be? And she laughed because, we get each other, right? As fellow women diagnosed later in life, there's just things that we understand about each other that others don't. And that's pretty fucking cool. What I want you to know in your business is that you don't need to be fully qualified. And that may get some of you to be like, oh, what do you mean? It's like, you don't have to go to the fancy college and have the fancy degrees and all of those things. What you need is the belief that you can, staying open-minded, being coachable. And I don't mean that in a coaching sense, but stop acting like you know it all. You don't. I don't. Yeah, I'm going to be a lot more blunt. So you may notice that. This is really a part of my personality that I've been afraid to let out. I love to be the teller of what to do to other people when I can so clearly see something. And not everybody wants to be told what to do, especially women with ADHD. We are like fucking rebellious people by nature. But the reality is that I have 25 years of experience. And I have a neurospicy brain, just like you. And I never feel like I know it all. Or do I? And I do not act like I know it all. And if I don't know something, I will say, I don't know. One of the things that I did from a very young age, when I had started my very first business, somebody would ask me a question. And I would say, I'm not 100% sure, but let me check on that. Because if I had an idea of what the answer was, but I wasn't 100% sure, some people would just bullshit and be like, yeah, or yes, or no, or whatever. But I would always say something like, I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me check it. Because I have a growth mindset. We do naturally. We believe as ADHDers that we can learn things and apply them and move forward. So do you get yourself into rooms where you know the least? Like the least of anybody in there, or does that freak you out? Do you like to be the head honcho who you're in that room and you know it all? Is that your jam? Because that is not how you learn. That is not how you learn. How we learn is we try, we fail forward, we take the lesson and go back and try again over and over and over again until we get our process so refined that we know exactly what we're doing. You don't need anything but that kind of experience to get to where you're going. But you have to put those reps in. You cannot believe or think that out of the gate you're going to have all the answers and know it all straight up. And if you are not open to truly doing the mindset work that it takes to become a tenacious entrepreneur somebody who doesn't take no for an answer, somebody who sees a roadblock and goes, okay, I see this roadblock. How am I going to get through that? Don't go around it because it'll keep coming back. But how am I going to get through it? Do I need help? Do I need support? You got to ask yourself that shit, especially if you really want bigger things. You get to be the pilot. You get to be the one steering the plane. But you're not here to do it alone. You're not here to do it alone. As women with ADHD, oftentimes we don't want to ask for help, even though we need it. Stop that shit. Ask for help. Asking for help is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. When you don't ask for help, that's the weakness. And I know you're not weak, but I also know you may be afraid of failure, and you also may be afraid of success. I know that feeling very, very well. Very, very well. Do you know where you're headed in general? Do you have a pretty good idea of where you want to go and how big you want to take things? Because if you don't have the right mindset to go into that, you're setting yourself up to fail in the first place. And you don't need to actually set yourself up to be allowed to set yourself up for success. So often it is a misconception that people with ADHD can't focus. We sure as fuck can. When we really want something, we see something, we really want to go for it, we can be so laser focused on it that sometimes we can block things out that we need to make sure we are not blocking out, like taking care of ourselves and really looking at our mindset instead of thinking, if I'm just a workhorse, I will get there. Does being a business owner take work? Yes. Does it take laying a solid foundation? Yes. But it also should be fun and interesting and different. And that's why we choose this path in the fucking first place. We don't just choose to own our own businesses and put ourselves through this stuff if we're just doing it for funsies. If you're doing this for the dopamine or the likes or the clicks or any of that stuff, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And I don't mean to be so blunt, but it is really easy to be caught up in metrics as opposed to use metrics as data, because sometimes we really do want to use different metrics as data when it comes to our business. But if you want to have the 6-figure business or the 7-figure business and you don't work on your mindset when it comes to what you feel you deserve, what you feel you are capable of, if you don't look those things straight in the eye and take them on, you are setting yourself up, like I said, in a way you don't need to. You are 100% capable of any of the things that you think about. And I know that one of the things we contend with is, 87 ideas. Which one do I do? Which one do I start? What do I focus on? The core idea. The core. What is your brand? What is your business? Who are the people that you are here to help? And then flesh it out from there. It gets to be that simple. Again, not easy. So many people think that focusing on strategy, oh my God, focusing on strategy before you focus on mindset is going to help you really fall on your face. Because if your brain is at war with you, there is no strategy on this earth that's going to save you. You can't out-strategize a shitty belief system. And your mindset is the difference between giving up at the first roadblock and then actually, let me rephrase that. Your mindset is the difference between giving up at the first roadblock and pivoting when you hit that roadblock, or looking at that roadblock and busting through it. Your mindset is the difference. Your so-called weaknesses, so many of those are your secret weapons and you don't even realize it. And confidence isn't built by waiting until you feel ready. It's built by acting before you're ready. What does ready even mean? Waiting for X, Y, and Z to happen? That's just a great way to procrastinate. When your mind is clear and it's focused, you spend less time stuck in overwhelm and more time in taking action and taking the actions that are with intention. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It is really a sign that your mindset needs an adjustment, because consistency can be challenging at times, but persistence is something we are born with as ADHD women who find out later in life. And if you lean into the mindset that consistency and persistence, you can interchange those if you even want to, are your secret weapons. Even when your ADHD brain wants to like rebel against you, you're going to continue moving forward when other people give up. Because that's really how businesses end. Somebody just goes, okay, I'm not going to keep going. The ones that end up rocking and rolling are the ones that laid the foundation, learned from epic people, truly got to know their ADHD and how their own brain works and the things that are their weaknesses so they can figure out how to support them. Because you have so many more strengths than weaknesses. But if you are looking at ADHD through a lens of a victimhood or woe is me, I'm not the person for you, because I do not see ADHD that way at all. We are curious, we're innovative, we're rule breakers, we're here to shake shit up, we're here to change industries, create ideas that other people who have linear thinking would never see or do or take a risk on. What are you not taking a risk on right now? That thing that you know in your head and in your gut that you want to take a risk on or take a leap of faith, and you aren't doing it. Why? Why not you? Why not you? You get to be and do and have and create whatever the fuck you want. This is not some like pep talk. This is an ass kicking right now. I had to do this ass kicking to myself before I came here to deliver this to you. I refuse to continue to do the same thing over and over again and think that something's going to be different in my growth. Do you feel the same way? Are you ready to take leaps of faith that maybe you are scared to take? Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Stay open-minded. Get into rooms where you know the least. Learn what you can. Don't lean into all the gurus and the people around you. I mean, the mute button and the unfollow button on social media are your best friend. I have stopped watching how other people do things. I have stopped watching how other people speak. I have stopped watching how other people in my industry, the vernacular that people use. I hate that shit. I call it what I want to call it, you know. But mindset is where I'm going to end us, is where I'm going to take us here to end. Getting your mindset in check. And I don't mean stop doing your business, work on your mindset, and then come back to your business. I mean, work on it as a work in progress throughout your business. That's what I've been doing. Ever since I was diagnosed with my ADHD, I've had to work on mindset and what I want, where I'm going, what that looks like, and how I'm going to get there for a year and a half. And what you're hearing right now is a culmination of all of those steps that I took to get here so that I could be here in your ear holes right now, saying this stuff to you with conviction, things that I know in my bones to be true. No BS, no fluff. Frying pan of love. If you don't know what frying pan of love is, let me explain. Frying pan of love is when I tell you something you really need to hear, but you may not want to hear. But I tell it to you with so much love that maybe you listen, or that you will listen and you can really hear me. This episode is Frying Pan of Love episode. You got to start getting your mindset shit together. Stop being a victim. If you feel that way, start getting support around it. And stop pretending you don't want more. Stop pretending you're satisfied with where you are. I'm not saying you have to always want more, more, more. But what I mean by more is impact. We want to build businesses as ADHD women that have an impact. So start before you do anything else. After this episode, write down what impact you want to create. Overall, just a general, broad statement. And then everything you do in your business, if it doesn't line up with that, it's a no. And don't think the universe won't fucking test you, because it will. And one more thing, I'm a manifesting generator, and I don't know if you're into human design or not, but if you are not, human design is really cool and it really gives insights on who you are, and you can take it with a grain of salt. But one of the things that I saw was that I am here to take things that seemingly don't go together, put them together, and make a completely new path. That is what I'm here to do. And I'm here to do that with a lot of love. Everything I do, I'm supposed to be infusing with love. But see, that's just naturally who I am. So even though it's frying pan of love or tough love, the key word is love. And I believe in the power of women in business and what we can do to change the world. Earning money in a way where you can be philanthropic and truly make changes that you want to make, not just by only helping the people that you're helping, but putting your money where your mouth is too. I never thought I would say this, but I'm going to say this right now, and it makes me want to throw up. But again, if we aren't willing to say the hard things or say the things we want to do and put it out loud, then why is my brand name Karrie out loud if I'm not doing that? So I want to be a speaker. I want to speak on this topic in late life diagnosis, women in business, why we do this, why we're designed for this. I don't know when that'll happen or how that'll look, but if you don't think I'm putting that shit in my bio, I am. Of course I am. Because how do I get that to happen, and how do I build that, and how do I grow if I don't put it out into the world as a goal by saying this is what I am now? I'm going to be speaking. So what are you going to claim today that you've been afraid to claim or say out loud? If you feel brave enough or bold enough, DM it to me. I won't tell anybody. I'm like a vault. Anything my clients say or anybody says to me is a vault. It goes in the vault and it doesn't come out. Keep going. Because one thing I know about you is you've never given up on yourself, because you got an adult diagnosis for ADHD because you figured something else was fucking going on. If you can do that and get through that and get through any gaslighting that you went through and doctors not like listening to you and not getting the proper treatment, but you continued fighting for yourself anyway, you can make your business anything you want it to be now. You always could. You just didn't realize it. Try, fail forward, learn, refine, go do the fucking thing. Okay. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. Boy, y'all got some real talk today. I am no longer going to have a script for this podcast. I am going to be flying off the cuff just like I did today. I may have a couple of topics to talk about because of things that come up during the week, and just kind of expanding on those things I've learned or seen. And of course, it will still continue to have to do with women with ADHD and of course, later life diagnosis, women in business, just a slightly different approach, because this is how I talk to my people. This is how I talk to my clients. Very straightforward, but also with a big fat heart. I do know when to not lean in that hard, because I know that we also come with certain elements that we have to contend with. And I contend with those types of things too. So I definitely have that empathy. but I also know what we can accomplish alone and together. So, in ending today's episode, if you loved this episode, this new episode, way of things that I'm going to do from now on, and you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, go do that. Give me a 5-star review. Tell a friend. Drop it in my DMs and tell me, what did you get out of this episode? I'm a connection queen. I crave connection and community, and your feedback as a listener is always welcome. I'm always open to chatting. So until next time, I see you. I love you. And I am fucking rooting for you unapologetically, always. So see you next time. Bye.